Thanks for liking and subscribing and sharing. You know, I spent most of my life in prison, and my hope is to share my story with people that maybe some of the younger people in particular, or not just necessarily young, anyone, where they can use my experience to help avoid making the same mistakes I did. In 1988, I went to federal prison for armed bank robbery and associated charges, and that wasn't the first time. Early in my life, I had a problem with drugs and alcohol. And when I say early, I mean early. I was 11 years old doing LSD, and that really started me off on a bad path. And I was going to juvenile by the time of 12, and just being a young thug, and I paid heavy prices. And the thing is, I had more choices. I just made very bad ones, and I know there's a lot of the younger generation today that's going that same path. And I can speak from experience. There's better ways in life to be able to get by and to do the things that we need to have the things that we want in life. And we just have to sometimes step back and not get caught up in the moment. About that instant gratification or having to have it right now. Some things you just got to work for and wait for. In 1995, I was at the federal penitentiary in Atlanta, Georgia. I'd already been served. I'd been at that point 7 years of my sentence. I had 420 months to serve, and 7 years into it, I just had that moment of clarity where I was able to see all the things I gave up because I couldn't keep a needle out of my arm. I used to shoot dope. I did some of everything. And that was just a story of my life. And like I said, I started off young. But I had better choices in my life. I just always made the bad ones. And, I thought I had a lot more issues than what I really had. What I had was an addiction problem. And it caused a lot of bad behaviors, because I allowed it to. Today I had to be responsible for that. And, I acknowledge that, I had issues, and I had issues other than addiction. Behind every addiction problem, there's usually a real problem. And that's what I had to do is, go in there, and I had to seek help. And then I was able to learn more about myself to try to find out what made me tick. Why did I do some of the things I did when I could have had a lot better life? I had a lot of opportunities early in my life. And, I could have been a model. I actually had a contract with a modeling agency in Atlanta called Pizzazz. And instead of getting a portfolio like they wanted me to do, I went ahead and bought cocaine instead. That was the story of my life. And it ultimately led to me, spending, like I said, the majority of my life in prison. The last two sentences I served was in the feds. I did 30 years and 10 days before walking out of the halfway house. In the state, prior to that, I had done 7 years, and then I was out 3 years before I fell on the federal sentence. Same thing. Back then for the state, I went to prison for armed robbing drugstores. I thought about robbing banks, but I said, why rob a bank? I'm just going to take the money, go buy drugs, so I just go get the drugs from the drugstore. Just that poor thinking. Today, though, I live without the use of drugs or alcohol. And that's the only reason I'm out today. On August 28, 2018, when I left federal prison and went to a halfway house, I'd never used a cell phone. I'd never been online, even though I had an online presence because, I'm a writer. In 2015, I had a publisher, I self-published, and I paid her to do my books for me and then to start websites, straightfromthepen.com. And since then, since I've got out, I started wonderfulthingsdone.com, and I've done a lot of things. But, when I first come out, I was like a caveman walking out of an ice age or something into modern society. And I had to take it slow, and I had to finally accept that things just weren't going to work the way I planned. They still don't. But today I'm okay with that, because I know everything's working out the way that it's supposed to. There's three times I've been on television on a steadfast journey, and one of my playlists I have that included. But that's just a miracle where I share my story, and hoping to inspire and encourage others. I've dealt with health issues. With a lot of times I will gasp in between breaths. I have COPD, but hey, at least I still have lungs that work. I just try to keep a more positive attitude, and I try to be more grateful for what I have instead of sad for what I don't have. So today, I'm still alive and kicking after all these years. So, it just shows miracles happen. And in time, I will share more. But, I just wanted to give a little more content. I'm going to put this on both channels, on at Straight from the Pen and also on Wayne T. Dowdy, just to let my viewers know, more about who's behind the channel. And I do hope that y'all will provide more comments, give me some feedback, because I do want to make this a regular thing for me. And, in time it's all going to work out, but I will include links below. Thanks again. Have a great day.